Okay, I'm going to get the proceedings underway as people gather in the various auditoriums for you. My job is to welcome you all. We have over 700 registered participants to this online annual Integrated Marketing Association Global Summit that's held by the NYU School of Professional Studies. I'm Michael Diamond. I'm the academic director and a clinical assistant professor at the School of Professional Studies in the Division of Programs of Business. And the students in our graduate program in integrated marketing at the School of Professional Studies who've organized this event really shot for the moon, or perhaps I should say Mars, this year. And they've curated an extraordinary day of dialogue and engagement around some of the most urgent and essential questions that marketing and communications professionals are engaged with today. We center all of our work at the Department of Integrated Marketing and Communications in the notion that marketing and PR are both human-centered and data-driven, and that to be successful in this world, to have impact on the brands and agencies and organizations that our graduates will serve, they need to marry the magic and the logic of marketing and bring as much empathy to the work they do as the knowledge, skills, and marketing competencies they are trained in at the school. So we'll have some more formal thanks later in the program, but I want to quickly shout out to 4 groups right now. First, the student leadership under the direction of Ria Didia, who are responsible for this entire day. Secondly, our faculty advisors under the leadership of Fedi Salviti, our colleagues at iCrossing for their platform and, to be honest, their patience with us all. And lastly, to the administration of the School of Professional Studies and the team at DPB and IMC who make this whole thing possible. So it's really in that context that I'd like to welcome Dr. Martin Ihrig to offer some opening thoughts. Dr. Ihrig is the Associate Dean responsible for the Division of Programs in Business at the school, and his research and his consulting focus on the strategic and entrepreneurial management of knowledge. But most importantly for the students and faculty in marketing and PR, he's a dedicated supporter of their efforts and a champion for their work. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce Martin Ihrig.
Thank you so much, Michael. Welcome, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. We're so thrilled to have you. And I'm deeply honored to be part of this very special event. For me, it really exemplifies what the School of Professional Studies here at NYU stands for. We can achieve everything we want if we work together. And the students have done an amazing job engaging industry partners, engaging leaders in industry to come up with this beautiful event this morning. And I think all the challenges that are presented to us these days can be solved when we work together. For that, we need the skills, the knowledge, the tools, and the School of Professional Studies is working hard to build educational products for our students to really start changing the world on day one. And so I'm very grateful that our student teams have come together and engaged industry partners that early in their career and have organized this event with very interesting speakers. I think moving forward, universities have to partner strongly with industry. And I always think we have 2 kinds of customers. It is our students, but it's also industry that we serve in terms of preparing our students for the challenges ahead and giving them the concrete tools that they can apply. So a big thanks goes to all the industry leaders that will be speaking today. A big thanks goes to iCrossing, an industry partner that has helped the Student Association with the portal that we're on today and other support. Big shout out to the whole IMA Association of Students. You've done a wonderful job, and I'm very, very proud of you. And to my team in the integrated marketing and communications department. It is amazing how you have weathered the storm of the last 1.5 years under the leadership of Michael Diamond. You are an amazing group of professionals with a passion for our students, and have done so many things, and I'm very, very grateful for that. With that, I wish everyone a wonderful summit. Enjoy, and I'll back to you, Michael.
Well, many thanks, Martin, for those comments. I know the students in our integrated marketing program really welcome your dedicated commitment to their applied professional education. So it is appreciated to see you here this morning. I just want to confirm with our team that we are recording, and I think folks who are on the program should know the events of today are being recorded. So a few housekeeping items before we get underway. You'll see at the bottom of your screen, and probably after a year of this, everyone's familiar with a Zoom platform, there is a Q&A button, a couple of bubbles that overlap. So the audience can submit Q&A at any time by typing in at the bottom of your screen. And what we've asked speakers to do is probably to answer questions towards the end of their session. So, you know, you'll generally probably not find questions answered as they pop in. We're going to allow the speakers to speak and the dialogues to happen, but leave time for Q&A towards the end. The other thing you should know is that there are 6 sessions today, yes, and they follow one another, yes. Each has a name, a more fully descriptive name, but think of sessions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And this is session 1. We're in session 1. And you'll need to change channels every other session. Yes. So when you first came in, you possibly saw that there are 2 auditoriums, or one called channel 1, one called channel 2. If you're on channel 1, you're in the right place. You can hear us speaking now. And channel 1 will be where you should show up for session 1, session 3, and session 6. And session 5, apologies. And then for session 2, 4, and 6, you'll switch to channel 2. Yeah. So just imagine if you were at the Palais in Cannes or the exhibition hall somewhere, you'd move between rooms. That's what you're going to do. So when we're done here after Norman speaks, there'll be a short break, but then you'll show up in channel 2. And when channel 2's done, you'll show up in channel 1. So, you know, I just want to get some of that housekeeping out of the way. And there's also a help desk. So if you do have any technical issues, I would use the help desk for technical issues, not the Q&A. And someone is on standby to help you if there are connectivity issues or sound issues or anything you think we may be able to support you with. Anyway, so with some housekeeping out of the way, I want to turn really now to our first keynote speaker, Norman de Greve. And by way of introduction, I'm actually going to go way back to the ancient Greek philosopher and essayist Plutarch, who wrote that education is the kindling of a flame and not the filling of a vessel. And I know that this notion, this idea that our role as leaders, our role as educators, is actually to help individuals realize their full potential, is a core belief of our keynote speaker. And it really is my pleasure to introduce you to Norman de Greve. Norman is the Senior Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer at CVS Health. And in his role, he has been responsible for developing and implementing a comprehensive marketing strategy across the enterprise that has helped put CVS Health, the brand, into a, to position the brand, frankly, as a major innovator and the preferred choice in pharmacy and healthcare more broadly. It's a highly successful business, and it now ranks 5th at the top of the Fortune 500. So Norman, we are absolutely delighted to welcome you to NYU School of Professional Studies and to have you kick off this IMA Summit in 2021. We look forward to hearing from you on the topic of adapting through the unpredictable.
Great. Thanks very much, Michael. Let's pull up the presentation and good morning, everyone. I'm really happy to be here, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all. I'm going to tell you a story about the importance of purpose and how it creates resilience in certain times, both in a company and in your job and in who you are and what you're focused on. So let's go on that journey. There we go. Sorry. Not so long ago, if you were to ask people about the image of CVS in popular media, they might call to mind this guy who went viral for dressing as a CVS receipt, or Jimmy Kimmel's tirade on those receipts. Let's take a look at what he had to say. I think we need a sound. I don't know if it's just me, but I didn't hear any sound. So hopefully others did hear sound on that. If not, we don't have to replay it, but we should just figure out how to have sound go through. All right, let's just go to the next slide, then we'll figure it out.
Estonia sent a tweet
There we go.
that said, why don't they make those stupid long shopping receipts nicely soft as toilet paper so you could really use them? And I thought that was a pretty good idea. So we made a roll, and this is what it would look like if this is what CVS should do. If they're going to give us, you understand? You might as well.
Okay, great. And then you had Fast Company declaring our receipts as a Twitter meme, or this next one, which I have to say is one of my all-time favorites, Saturday Night Live's parody of CVS. Just watch.
It's Valentine's Day. CVS has all the heartfelt gifts your long-term girlfriend wants. Like a small bear dressed like a bee, with hearts that say, "Be mine."
Oh, when did you get this?
1 minute ago.
Clearly, you could say we were suffering something of an image deficit. What almost no one knew was that the company was actually doing big things to address the three most pressing issues of healthcare: access, affordability, and quality. Few realize that CVS pharmacy stores actually represent less than half our revenue. We've grown Minute Clinic into the largest chain of retail walk-in medical clinics in the country with over 1,100 locations. Now, you may not know this, but America is facing a shortage of primary care doctors, and Minute Clinic is helping to fill that access gap, as well as taking the burden off emergency room for things that aren't actually emergencies. We also have a specialty pharmacy division that serves people with complex diseases like MS and Parkinson's and cancer. And these are patients whose monthly prescription bill can cost thousands of dollars to tens of thousands of dollars. So making sure those medicines are handled and used expertly can save money and lives. We even provide skilled nurses who visit patients in their home to administer intravenous therapies. CVS Caremark is our pharmacy benefits management division that helps thousands of American companies and insurance providers control the prescription costs for over 90 million Americans. Half of the over 2 billion prescriptions we fill each year are actually filled by Caremark, not our retail pharmacies. So, we had a big story to tell, and it wasn't just to consumers. Investors didn't know what to make of us. Our company had grown through a series of huge acquisitions into multiple lines of business. We needed to present a coherent vision of our strategy as a player in healthcare. We also needed to tell our story to C-suite executives who make healthcare decisions for thousands of companies and millions of employees. And we needed a seat at the table with policymakers. Healthcare policy continues to change radically. Over 10,000 baby boomers a day are aging into Medicare. Pharmaceutical companies are making headlines for breakthrough therapies and breathtaking price increases. As the company that fills more prescriptions than anyone, these issues affect our business, and we have the scale to affect these issues. Not to mention, we have over 250,000 employees. Now, many stock shelves in the front of our stores or fill prescriptions in the back, but thousands had come in through acquisitions. Software coders, data analysts, medical researchers. We actually employ more healthcare practitioners than anyone in the country. We needed them all a clear vision of who we are, what we believe, and how we behave. Simply said, it was time to convince a whole lot of people that we were a lot more than a store where you can pick up a last-minute Valentine's Day gift. And it wasn't simply a matter of telling people what we do. Let's see here. Go to the next slide here. Okay. We needed them to understand why we do what we do. And those 6 words are simply the definition of one word, and that is purpose. Now, there's a whole lot of talk these days about being a purpose-driven brand. Many say consumers have come to expect it. I contend being a purpose-driven brand is impossible. It is impossible unless you are first and foremost a purpose-driven company. Our purpose is this: helping people on their path to better health. All those acquisitions, those clinics, those nurses and specialists were assembled to accomplish this goal. And let me point out that a good purpose is all about helping others. It has empathy for their situation at the core. Many times you'll hear about mission, but a mission isn't about helping others. A mission is what you want. A purpose is what you do for others. And in that, there is connection and power. To build understanding of our purpose, we printed it on a lot of posters. We put them in all our conference rooms. You remember when we used to use those? And for many companies, a poster, an ad, and some CSR activities is as far as it goes. We knew we had to do more. We had to meaningfully demonstrate our commitment to that purpose to our customers and to our employees. So we took a deep breath, put our customers' well-being first, and stopped selling tobacco. A sacrifice of $2 billion in annual revenue for the benefit of our customers. Think about that. The vast majority of businesses in America don't even have $2 billion in annual revenue. In fact, I'd bet most American businesses won't have $2 billion in revenue in a lifetime. So obviously it was not an easy decision. We had to convince the CEO, the CFO, and the board. But we were calculating that by selling fewer $10 packs of cigarettes in the front of our stores, we'd sell more $10 million contracts to provide the pharmacy benefits to hospitals and health plans and employers by showing them our commitment to the health of their members and employees. Plus, at the end of the day, it was just the right thing to do for our business and for the people we serve. When you commit to helping people on their path to better health, how can you dispense life-saving medicines from behind the pharmacy counter while selling cigarettes, the #1 cause of preventable death in the country, from behind the checkout counter? When that's your purpose, selling cigarettes and antibiotics in the same store changes from being ironic to being cynical. It's just plain wrong. So on September 3rd, 2014, we quit for good. On that morning, instead of cigarettes behind our counters, now there was this, the last pack, a free quit kit filled with tips and resources to help smokers kick the habit. And America woke up to a new expression of our purpose.
I wish. Please, 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 please.
The wish we wish above all, for ourselves and those we love, is health. So we quit selling cigarettes in our CVS pharmacies and designed a comprehensive program to help smokers quit too. Expanded Minute Clinic with over 900 locations for walk-in medical care, and created programs that encourage people to take their medications regularly. Introducing CVS Health, a new approach, a new purpose, a new promise to do everything we can to help all those wishes come true. CVS Health, because health is everything.
More importantly, you cannot overestimate the pride people feel for working for a company with a conscience. It inspires them to think differently and to act differently, and that has made all the difference. This first act changed our culture and our company with a ripple effect that enabled the next stage of our growth. Our purpose simplified our decision-making. We just look at the options on the table and ask ourselves which will do the most to help people on their path to better health. For instance, more people get skin cancer than all other cancers combined. And the data shows that sunscreens with an SPF below 15 don't really work and give a false sense of protection. So we removed them from our stores. When the health risks became clear, we became the first national retailer to remove parabens and phthalates from all of our beauty brands. And when a single company moved the price of EpiPens to $600, we used our clout to work with a generic manufacturer to come out with a generic equivalent for $10. Now think about that. If you're a single mom on a limited budget, faced with getting your kid an EpiPen that costs $600 or paying the rent, think about the stress that puts on you. And think about the relief and the connection built when somebody comes and says, I can get you one for $10. We also eliminated artificial trans fats from all the food products in our stores when the health risks were clear. And here's another one. Did you know that vitamins and supplements are largely unregulated? Some stuff being sold online contains ingredients that are truly dangerous. Some weight loss supplements contain a pharmaceutical that is so harmful it's been banned. And some fitness supplements secretly contain the steroids or Viagra. So we are now the only national retailer to require all vitamins and supplements to be third-party tested to be trusted, to ensure that they contain what they claim. Our purpose also inspired actions in our beauty area. Let me introduce you to one of our most special customers. Most special to me, of course, because it's my daughter, Ella. She's 7 years old. And if you're a parent, you know you would do anything on earth to protect your child from harm. Well, consider this. 80% of people feel worse after seeing a typical beauty ad. People magazine named Lupita Nyong'o as the most beautiful woman in the world. The most beautiful woman in the world. And she had this to say. For my entire life, I've been sold the seduction of my inadequacy. It's just awful. So we embraced beauty in real life and stopped all retouching of beauty images, and more importantly, asked all our beauty partners to use unaltered images or disclose that the image has been altered. Let's take a look. You know, we're doing this for all of our customers, for my daughter and for yours. And you can see my point in showing you all of those things is to show you that that's first act, demonstrating our purpose, getting out of tobacco, led to people across the company coming up with their own opportunities to deliver on our purpose. These were not led top down. These were built by the people at the mid-levels of the organization, each of them understanding our purpose and understanding that they could be successful if they delivered on that purpose. And by that, what I'm telling you is that a purpose gives you direction without having it be direction from a directive from the top. And it can help build your company and direct your actions going forward. But what I would also point out is that most of what I just showed you is about stuff we got out of. And it doesn't take a genius to understand that you can't build much of a company by not selling stuff. So I also want to highlight other ideas that the same idea of purpose led us to getting into different things, which changed our company as well. So for example, we bought one of the top insurance companies in the country. I mean, imagine that. The company people think of as the corner drugstore buying a top health insurer. We did it to get a better understanding of each patient's health because you see, health insurance companies know the most about your health because they see all of the claims that you have. And by using great analytics and artificial intelligence, they actually know for every one of their members the next best health action you should take. So we knew that if we could get access to that we could help more people on their path to better health when they walk into our stores. You come in to pick up your medication, and the pharmacist says, hey, you should talk to Norm also about getting his blood pressure checked. And all of a sudden, we're connecting the dots, making it easier for consumers and helping them on their path to better health. And these purpose-led actions aren't just happening in our retail business, though. They're happening across the organization, and they're all inspired by the purpose and by listening to our customers. So here's another one. Our team saw that 1 in 7 adults now has kidney disease. And they heard patients talk about the current dialysis experience. You travel to that dialysis center several days a week. You sit there for hours. You can't work. You lose your job, and you can't take care of your family. So you have this paradox going on where dialysis is saving your life and destroying it at the same time. So we started teaching people how to self-administer at-home dialysis so they can do it more often for longer periods and maintain the other activities in their life, improving their outcomes and improving their life. And check this out. Imagine you're the parent of a kid who needs a feeding tube. All he wants is to get out and be like other kids. Your heart breaks for him. That's pain. So we created a backpack with a built-in feeding pump so he can go out and play with the other kids. And we can all imagine getting a cancer diagnosis and how terrifying that must be. You just want confidence that you will be all right. So our precision oncology program devised a way to compare a patient's genetic markers to how millions of other people with similar genetics and cancers did on various treatments, helping their oncologists get them on the best treatment faster. And this is my mother-in-law and father-in-law. My mother-in-law is 85, and she's caring for her husband, who's 88, and he has sleep apnea, a serious problem that leads to other serious problems. But the whole process of getting diagnosed with sleep apnea and getting the right equipment is a royal pain. You have to get screened, then tested overnight at a sleep center, then diagnosed, then get the gear at a special store, and then deal with insurance. But my father-in-law has dementia. He's not going to go spend the night in a sleep center. And you can imagine how many people don't even enter into this process because of the complexity of it. Not only is it complex, but it also takes months. So we're putting all the steps together in our health hubs. With home sleep test kits you can mail back in, so you do it at home, sleep assistance products you can experience, and removing friction, removing pain, and improving life in 1,500 communities across the country. And again, I would point out that all these things I just showed you were not driven by the CEO. They were driven by the ripple effect of committing to your purpose and demonstrating your commitment to that purpose in a meaningful way, thereby encouraging all of the people in your company to find ways that they could also contribute to that purpose. Now, purpose can also guide in times of rapid change and crisis, when things are moving too fast to vet every decision. When the pandemic came, it caused pain points galore. Millions of people were scared to go out to fill their prescriptions, which can actually result in really serious health problems. So, while we already had home prescription delivery, we made it immediately free. We also put out free telehealth and free support for caregivers. The telehealth was so that people can get care at home. And the support for caregivers is because so many caregivers were trying to figure out how to take care of their parents and how to take care of their children. And so we had free support for caregivers to anyone in the country who would call that number. And we put an ad on TV to make sure that we created awareness of these things.
All of a sudden, home is office and school. Home is playground, gym, and concert hall. And CVS Health is helping with free home prescription delivery, free telehealth for Aetna, and free support for caregivers. We're doing all we can to help you stay well as you stay in, because now more than ever, home is where the heart is. CVS Health.
Now, none of those things are free to us. Cost money to have stuff delivered. Someone's got to provide the telehealth appointment. They're not free to us. But when your purpose is to put health first, you put people over near-term profits because you know not only is it the right thing to do, but forming those connections will drive long-term growth for your company. And as we went forward in this crisis, we had turned thousands of our stores into COVID testing sites. And this, you could see this little kiosk in the middle here. This is interesting. We needed to find ways to get testing into communities in which we didn't have stores, and to also find different ways to do testing outside of our stores. And so we rapid prototyped and built thousands of those kiosks, which are now just deployed across the country to aid in the distribution of where we can do testing. And our efforts in this have now led to CVS doing 70% of the retail COVID testing in the country. When the vaccine came out, we became a leader in deploying the vaccine. Our teams in our stores left those stores and went into 40,000 long-term care centers in the month of January and February, deploying vaccines to millions of people. We're so inspired by our teams and what they do that we made this video to thank them.
It can be accompanied by laughter or tears. It can celebrate victory or comfort defeat. It can make you feel weak or strong. A hug is the most basic thing we do to feel connected. And we never knew how much we relied on it until we couldn't do it anymore. We were forced to keep our loved ones at arm's length. But now, there's hope. And you, the frontline workers of CVS Health, you are the people who are going to deliver that hope. Because with every appointment you confirm, every line you facilitate, every vaccination you provide, you are bringing an end to the greatest health crisis in our lifetime. You are bringing people back together. And we are so proud of you. So proud that we could give you a hug. And because of your efforts, we might actually be able to do that. Thank you.
Okay. So what can you take away from all of this? Just waiting for the next slide here. Okay. First, stand up. It is pointless to declare yourself a purpose-driven brand in your marketing unless you are willing to live it and prove it in your actions. And stand up for something that is actually relevant to your business. Pedigree, the pet food company, supports pet adoption. SC Johnson, the family company, supports family welfare issues. Tom's, the shoes companies, make shoes for people who can't afford them. They make a stand that makes sense. The important thing is that deeds matter more than creeds. So stand up for what's right for your consumers, what's right for your community and your company. Number 2, stand out. You cannot get there just by doing what everyone else is doing. Making promises to increase diversity or to lower greenhouse emissions or to donate money to worthy causes. These are all good things, but they are also table stakes. You can't get a seat at the table without them, but it is not the same as placing a bet. If you want to win, you have to put something on the line, something unique. Number 3, stand firm. Being a purpose-driven company is not just a marketing strategy. It drives our operations, our acquisitions, our budgets. We have integrated our purpose into everything we do, from employee onboarding to performance management. And over time, the actions it has created have become our brand. Okay, so you do all those things. You stand up, you stand out, you stand firm. You deliver on your purpose, but will that be a force for growth, which is also part of your job as a marketer? I can only tell you what it has meant for us. We started by giving up $2 billion in annual revenue. But in the 5 years since, our revenues have increased $100 billion. Back then, we were number 14 on the Fortune 500 list. And today, we are number 5. We are now the largest healthcare company in America. And it all started with one step, demonstrating our purpose by removing an unhealthy item from our stores. And that first step led to other steps, and that set us on a path. It's like that quote, as you start to walk on the way appears. Had we not stopped selling tobacco, I suspect we might never have made the investment to buy Aetna or to build 1,500 new Health Hub stores. Together, those investments are not just fundamentally reshaping our company, but changing the way health is delivered in this country. So my advice to you is to make no small plans. Our job is to leave the places we work and live better off than they were before we arrived. A purpose can guide your actions in stable and chaotic times. It builds resilience because you're not concerned about it if an individual effort fails. Your target is bigger and further away. Your goal is to keep making progress towards that purpose and that goal. And if we all focus on profitably improving the communities in which we work, we can all succeed, and the world will be an infinitely better place for my family and yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Norman. It's really wonderful that all of us could hear from one of the most relevant brands for this time, and on the journey of CVS on how the company has always been innovative and adapting through a lot of changes actually throughout the time. And we got some of the questions, interesting questions from audience, and we'll start with 2 of them. And the first one, we have a question about how you justify the business outcome with the investment being put in driving with these campaigns and starting with the purpose and commitment to the better health. So how would you justify the business outcome? And you already touched on that a little bit in the last few slides. And how would you get everyone and the company on board in going forward with this purpose-driven marketing?
Yeah, I think that you have to start with the idea that purpose is to profitably improve the communities in which you live. If you don't profitably improve the communities in which you live, then you're not going to grow. And if you don't grow, you're going to have other problems, the worst of which is going out of business. And then you're not delivering on your purpose. So you have to, that's how you have to think about purpose. Now, what I will also say is the way to start with purpose is to really think about what consumers want and value. Most consumers didn't like tobacco when we got out of it. It wasn't a general idea. Great, it wasn't a terrible idea, revolutionary idea. Most people don't want to put chemicals that can harm them on their face in beauty products. Most don't like beauty ads that are photoshopped. And so you need to be consumer-led and find that insight, because when you find that insight, you find a connection, and that connection drives sales. And you can talk to your management and your finance department about that. Every single one of the moves that I made here had a business case associated with it. None of them were CSR initiatives. They were all associated with how we could grow our business by doing that. And I think it is possible to do that.
Thank you. And in the interest of time, I'll just address one more question, and hopefully that would be helpful for a lot of business related people out there. We got one question related to more of a smaller startup businesses. So for CVS, we have all the size and the capital and the fund to employ this purpose-driven marketing. So how would you suggest for those in the smaller scale of the business side, how would they start doing this purpose-driven marketing and start making the change?
Well, I mean, I think there's good examples of small companies delivering on purpose. Tom's, the shoe company, is an easy one to understand, and that purpose, Bombas is out there doing the same thing, and I think that people like to buy brands that are more purpose driven. I would say if I really had to start first with what matters to your employees, because employees want to join a company that is bigger than just a paycheck. And so if you do together what matters to your employees, that's actually can be a lower cost way of doing something. And then you can expand from there. But I would also say, depending upon the market you're in, you can do the research, but actually consumers have shown that they will buy from purpose-driven brands. So there could be a good business case that doing those actions will lead to more sales and more growth.
Thank you. It's really great to hear that from the brand with the purpose-led innovations. And I'm sure that people would take the 3 takeaways: stand up, stand out, and stand firm. So with the interest of time, I'll hand it over to you for the final closing thought. And
well, remember, a purpose can guide you in many different times, but a purpose is fundamentally about what you do for others. Do great things for other people, and it will lead to growth for you.
thank you. Thank you, Norman de Greve, from Senior Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer of CVS Health. Thank you so much for being with us today. And for the audience, we're going to head out to the next session. So you have to click channel 2, and they're going to see you there at 9:50 a.m. So thank you very much, everyone.